Being a K-pop idol looks like the dream job for many people, but what's the real price these idols have to pay behind the scenes? From suffering physical and psychological harm to being exploited by their companies, the reality of K-pop idols is anything but glamorous. Over the years, many idols came forward and shared their truths about what they had to endure just to be able to make music and go on stage to perform for their fans. On November 18th, a former third-generation idol exposed the horrors he had faced during his time in the K-pop industry, and it was none other than DPR Ian. While many fans know Ian as a solo artist and a co-founder of Dream Perfect Regime, he began his artistic journey as a member of the group C-Clown, where he went by the name Rome. C-Clown was active between the years 2012 and 2015, and while it was a very short time for the group, a lot of bad things happened that left a permanent mark on Ian's psyche. While Ian never mentioned his experience of being a C-Clown specifically, based on what he shared during one of his Instagram live streams, many people believe that he opened up about his time in the industry. According to what he said, he signed what's known as a slave contract, which was supposed to last 7 to 8 years, stating that the things he had to go through in those 3 years were absolute hell. He compared it to walking into the lion's den and signing his life away. He also alluded that the company treated him less than human and messed him up almost every single day. Ian clarified that there were never any issues with finances or being paid, but rather how brutally the company and their manager treated the group. As an example, he revealed that one of the group's members had his ribs broken and that fistfights with their manager were a part of their everyday. Ian confessed that the company didn't treat them like human beings, but rather like a discarded piece of garbage. In addition to his time in the group, he opened up a little bit more about his struggles with mental health and how those issues are perceived in the K-pop industry. In the past, Ian admitted to having DID, or dissociative identity disorder, a condition where a person has multiple different identities, each with their own name, personality, and characteristics. He strongly believes that his DID was triggered because of what they had to endure with their company, and the continuous physical and psychological harm made his condition even worse. Ian once revealed that hearing about K-pop idols struggling with depression is common, noting they face not only mental challenges, but intense physical strain too. The physical pain K-pop idols endure is difficult to imagine. The extent of human cruelty is shocking, making it remarkable that some idols can still manage to smile after everything they've been through. The boy group TRCNG know how incredibly ruthless and vicious these K-pop companies can be. The group's member Taeson is set to re-debut in the group Name in the near future. In a recent video posted on Name's YouTube channel, he became honest and vulnerable about the harm he was made to bear under TS Entertainment. While he had to withstand a lot of verbal harm, it was nothing compared to the physical harm that happened every day. Things like vacuums, bats, or broken mops were kept in their practice room for physical punishment. The company's trainees were also robbed of their money and were forced to buy things or drinks by the company's CEO and some of their choreographers. Taeson admitted to dealing with everything because he wanted to be an idol so desperately. The members in general were too scared to admit anything to their parents, so they just suffered in silence. The situation escalated, and at this point, Taeson was brainwashed into believing that everything that happened in the company was completely normal. However, he hoped that once the group debuted, the situation would settle down, but the psychological and physical torment continued. Taeson recalled how one day one of the members' actions were misunderstood by some members of the group's staff team. As a result, the staff threw a vacuum at the member, slamming him against the wall and even smothering him. Taeson shared his regrets about not being able to do anything when he saw the member trying desperately to get away. It got to the point where he and another member of the group, Wooyop, filed a lawsuit against TS Entertainment and paired up with Dispatch to release evidence of all of the harm the company inflicted on them. On top of everything, the members had to endure living in terrible conditions, often having no electricity or running water as the company failed to pay utility bills. The members also had to buy their own food and clothing, and the company would only provide their meals if they were practicing late into the night. Taeson revealed that he was once rushed to the emergency room due to abdominal pain from the low-quality food they had to eat since they couldn't afford anything else. The group's dorm was also basically falling apart and was in no way good enough to house all 10 members of the group. Fortunately, poor living conditions are somehow common for trainees or idols who have just debuted. Some companies cannot afford to house their idols in luxurious dorm rooms, so sometimes these idols have to brave these non-ideal conditions until their finances improve and they can move to a much better place. Before New Jeans became mega stars, the group had to live in dorms with visible mold in the corners of the room and cockroaches running around. Obviously, it's not easy to live in such horrible conditions, and it not only takes takes a toll on their mental health, but it can seriously affect their physical health as well. Miju from the group Lovely shared that living in their dorm severely affected her immune system. According to Miju, all members used to be very busy and there was no time for them to clean their dorms. As a result, their living space became a dirty and even hazardous environment. At one point, their dorm got so messy and dirty that if they wore white socks, they would turn black immediately. The worst part of it was undoubtedly their kitchen, as the members didn't have time to wash the dishes, so dirty dishes started to pile up. The whole place stunk because of their food waste, which would rot if they didn't take out their garbage. The list of things idols have to face just so they can fulfill their dream of becoming an idol is endless. It's hard to determine if the physical harm is the worst or if it's the emotional turmoil they often have to suffer through. One thing is certain though, these two things go hand in hand. The pressure on these young hopefuls is intense, and their bodies and figures are often scrutinized. If they don't look perfect, then they have to put their bodies under constant stress to achieve what's considered perfect by their company. Because of the ruthless training regime and strict diets these idols have to follow, their bodies start to slowly give out. An anonymous trainee development team member stated that most female trainees completely lose their periods due to all the diets, intense physical training, and restrictions on food. These female trainees are often very young and at a stage where their bodies are still growing, but because they don't eat properly and only focus on exercising, their bodies don't have the chance to develop properly. The team member also touched on the fact that these girls don't usually understand what it means to not get their periods because of the lack of proper education in the entertainment industry. One former trainee nicknamed Gayon by the press revealed that if she didn't reach the desired weight, she would have to face punishments from the staff. Due to the strain on her physical health, Gayon's body would become so weak that if she ate just a little bit, she would have to be rushed to the hospital as she was constantly suffering from intestinal inflammation. Brave Girls Hyeron also exposed how toxic the K-pop industry can be when it comes to body image. She herself had to go through grueling rehearsals from dusk till dawn, and in some cases, the trainees under her agency were forbidden from consuming even water. Severe stomach issues and prolonged bleeding were a very common thing among the trainees. Hyeron also revealed that the pressure of maintaining the perfect figure resulted in some people around her resorting to dangerous diet pills that cause severe dehydration or even seizures. Female idols are also often coerced into non-consensual acts with their superiors. Former K-pop trainee Vivian Jo Hyung-gi shared that she was forcefully asked to have a romantic relationship with a producer so she would have a better chance in the entertainment industry. If she submitted herself to this relationship, it would advance her career. Thankfully, Vivian refused and left the entertainment industry shortly after to pursue a career that is much less dangerous. It's gotten to the point when veteran idols who have been in the industry for a long time try to warn younger idols about older men in the industry who might not have the best intentions. In 2016, C-Star gave such a warning to IOI, stating that male seniors won't leave them alone since they are rookies and that it'd be for the best if they just stayed at home and didn't meet up with any guys. Additionally, Nara from the group Hello Venus once shared that her company showed her an actual list of dangerous senior colleagues for whom she should look out. While we sincerely hope that these young female idols are being looked out for and protected, it might not be as easy, and they are still facing a huge risk of being harassed and taken advantage of. It doesn't seem like things are gonna get much better for them either. When New Jeans Hani bravely spoke about her experience with workplace harassment, many people were hopeful that the laws would change to strengthen the protection of idols. Unfortunately, her case was dismissed and closed because technically, idols are not viewed as workers under the Labor Standards Act. This means that idols are unprotected by labor laws, and there's no way for them to seek justice if they're subjected to any sort of mistreatment. This explains why those who suffered in the past couldn't speak out, and why newer idols may face the same challenges. As a Twitter user best put it, there's been stories for years about trainees and idols being mistreated by company people, and the reason why they get away with it is because idols are not even legally considered workers. This is incredibly devastating to know, especially since idols and trainees are getting younger and younger by the year. Thankfully, idols are becoming more vocal about their experiences, paving the way for a better future for those who follow in their footsteps.